Actress and champion of conservative Christian values Candace Cameron Bure is taking some flack for her comments around traditional marriage. This, in conjunction with the passage of the Respect for Marriage Act in the Senate, is interesting timing. I'm Yasmin Khan with The Breakdown, and Candace Cameron Bure holds, or maybe once held, a special place in many a millennial's heart. She played DJ Tanner on Full House, a show that a lot of us grew up watching, though I will admit that personally I watched it for John Stamos. I was really into Uncle Jesse. However, lately, Bure has come to be known for her conservative Christian values, which in and of itself isn't a bad thing. Lots of people hold similar views and they're allowed to do so. Her brother, Kirk Cameron, is far worse than she is, in my opinion, at least publicly. Bure had a 2-season stint on The View where she offered the more conservative viewpoint, a stint that she says left her with PTSD. More recently, she's come to be known for her work on the Full House reboot on Netflix, Fuller House, and the movies that she makes on the Hallmark Channel. Now, I don't know if you're all familiar with the very formulaic, borderline conservative propaganda Christmas movies that the Hallmark Channel is known for. And I say that lovingly. I watch them all. I can be very basic. But after facing some criticism for a lack of diversity, Hallmark decided to diversify their content, offering stories featuring more people of color and people from the LGBTQ community. Now, following that shift, and maybe it was just coincidental timing, Bure announced that she would be leaving for The Great American Family, a similar channel headed up by former Hallmark executive Bill Abbott. There, Bure is the chief creative officer and she stars in some of the movies. Now, on her new role on the new channel, Bure said, quote, "My heart wants to tell stories that have more meaning and purpose and depth behind them. I knew that the people behind Great American Family were Christians that loved the Lord and wanted to promote faith programming and good family entertainment." She went on to say, quote, "I think that Great American Family will keep traditional marriage at the core." Abbott, perhaps in an effort to backtrack a little bit, followed up Bure's comments saying, quote, "It's certainly the year 2022, so we're aware of the trends. There's no whiteboard that says yes this or no we'll never go here." So we will quickly move past the fact that he referred to those non-traditional marriages as trends, but he's right to have acknowledged the ways in which the general American public tends to view marriage. We all know the stats. We know that millennials have been blamed for killing the marriage industry like we've apparently killed everything else. We know that Gen Z cares even less about marriage than millennials do, and there's a lot of good reasons for why they might feel that way. As a societal institution, you could argue that it's obsolete, especially outside of a religious context. Then you have people who insist on defining what marriage is or isn't, or what it should or shouldn't be for other people.
And a supporter approaches you and says, "Senator, I'm old-fashioned, and my faith teaches me that marriage is between one man and one woman." What is your response?
Well, I'm going to assume it's a guy who said that. And I'm going to say, then just marry one woman. I'm cool with that.
That particular conversation, a conversation that Candace Cameron Bure has thrust herself in the middle of, is so exclusionary that it's bigoted, and there's really no other way around that. But to Abbott's comments about the trends of 2022, trends that I'm assuming involve marriages within the LGBTQ community and even interracial marriage, well, the timing of these comments could not have been better. With the more extreme members of the GOP leadership calling marriage equality into question, members like Clarence Thomas and Mitch McConnell, both of whom are in interracial marriages, the right wing of our nation insists on trying to force others to live in a way that makes them feel comfortable and superior, despite the fact that they also love to celebrate and tout the freedoms that come with life in the United States. They'll never understand that you can't force people to change who they fundamentally are, and asking people to forego love in their lives wherever they found it is particularly evil. So to that point, the Senate just advanced the Respect for Marriage Act with bipartisan support, which included support from 12 Republican senators. The act protects marriages regardless of, quote, sex, race, ethnicity, or national origin. The Republican senator from Ohio, Rob Portman, voted for the act, saying, quote, "We've shown here through this legislation that these rights can coexist, religious freedom on the one hand, LGBTQ on the other hand. It is my hope that the changes we've talked about today and we've all now agreed to We can pass this legislation with the same kind of overwhelming bipartisan majority we saw in the House of Representatives and therefore settle this issue once and for all. Even the Mormon Church appears to understand the meaning of separation of church and state, declaring that they support the act as a matter of religious freedom in the United States while not supporting marriage equality within their church. Fine, they can do whatever they want within their church. I don't agree with it, but that's why I'm not a Mormon, and thankfully no one is forcing me to become a Mormon, and that's the way it's supposed to work. So to Candace Cameron Bure's comments about traditional marriage, I almost don't even know what she's referring to anymore. I mean, clearly she's referring to a marriage between a straight, cisgender man and woman, probably in a church, and the kind of marriage that probably lasts until they actually die. I get that. She's within her rights to feel a certain way about marriage and tradition and faith, etc., but she's naive if she thinks that her views won't be perceived negatively by a modern public. And she's naive if she thinks her words don't have negative impacts on people she claims to have compassion for. And how many marriages or relationships actually fit that very, very narrow mold anymore? And where does love and happiness even fall into that traditional equation? Traditionally, marriage wasn't even about love at all. And back in the day when American culture tried to define itself by those marital standards, how many of those women led sad, unfulfilled lives? We've all seen Pleasantville. No thank you. All right, that is it for me. Please like and subscribe if you got something out of this content, and be sure to follow me on Instagram and TikTok.